Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Suit Breakdown. Today we'll be looking at the RX-78 GPO1FB Gundam Zephyranthes Full Burnern, piloted by Ko Araki, sometimes translated as the Full Vernian, which I think is what they were probably going for, but it's fine. The Full Burnern has some pretty nifty movement to it. It has one of the best melee combos in the game, in my opinion, but we'll get into all of that. We'll start off with our basic shot. The charge, pretty good. You throw your shield down, you just get another shield. It's what a dumb, fun thing that I love. Attention to detail, man. Go with nukes. Maybe that means we'll get our burst faster. But the charge shot does decent damage. Has no homing on it at all, but as you can see, does decent damage. From there, you have left bumper, which is this cool spin. You cannot spin forward or back. There's just left and right. And if you hold back, you will go to the right, and if you hold forward, you go to the left, which is a little interesting, but you know, hey, it's fine. Left trigger, you have this toss of the beam saber, very potent, does pretty nice damage, comes back pretty quickly, but can be kind of hard to hit. Does not, however, stun, but does stagger, which is very nice. Right trigger, you have, well, right trigger, you have this mobility mode, is what I've taken to calling it. I'm sure there is an actual name for it. Please let me know in the comment section down below. But you can either do a spin, or if you're standing still, you can activate it, which increases your mobility at the cost of your boost gauge. Drains it pretty quickly, but your mobility goes up quite a bit. And of course, you have its burst as a ranged burst. Straight from the show. Pretty nice. Does pretty decent damage. Not as powerful as you might want it to be, but it pairs with everything else fairly well. And then you have the striker, which just fires off a series of shots. With just this kit alone, the Full Burnern is fine. It does exactly what you want it to do. It gets in, it does some good damage, even though it doesn't do quite as much damage as you might want it to do. But it's fun, it has good mobility, you know, hey, it would be a decent suit. It's the melee that really sets it apart, and that's what we're going to get into in the second round. But now we ask, should you use the Full Burnern? Well, honestly, yeah, I think you probably should. If you like mid-range, very much if you like mid-range, you should use the Full Burnern. If you only care about melee, it does some really nifty things with its melee, but it doesn't do a lot of damage with it, as compared to other suits like the Burning or the Exia, and suits like that that maybe lean in a little bit more. And if you only care about the range, it doesn't have a Garobi, it doesn't have a stun, it doesn't have anything like that, so it's already lacking in a lot of the long range and short range departments. But what it brings to the table instead is one of my favorite design ideas. Whether it's executed very well or not, I'm not sure yet, we'll see. But you have basic melee, which is not bad. As you can see, as we melee, we're filling up a charge down there. You have side melee. You have... Oh, come on, Gato. You have side melee. Not bad. You have forward melee. Which is not bad. And then you have... Oh, then you have back melee, which is a counter. And it is a melee counter. It's very good. It's very reliable. But it only counters melee. So definitely something to remember. However, while you're charging to counter melee, you may notice that it's full charged over there. And what that is, the charge is the ability to combo any of your melee strings into that charge, and it does do quite a bit of damage. It allows you to get in through enemy attacks because it has hyper armor on it. It's very good, and you can charge it while you're going in for an attack, which is really nice. It comes back super quickly, and because it's on a melee charge, you're able to basically tie it into any combo. You can counter, and right after a counter go into it, you can go for a forward melee and hit with it. It's very useful. So for instance, we'll do this. You may notice that just about all of Ko's melees do not end in a full combo. That's because you're supposed to end in the charge, which is very cool in my opinion. It can be a little bit tricky to pull off, but once you have it right, you will be dashing forward, going for a stab, getting good damage in every time. Very cool, and sets it apart from all the other melee suits in the game, because none of the other ones really rely on the charge the way that this one does. I timed it just a little bit wrong there, but you can see what I was going for there. That would have been a really nice little combo. It's very cool. I like it a lot. Very situational. Very cool. And if you can charge it correctly and use it correctly, the full burn urn becomes a monster in melee. However, it is, again, difficult to use. So definitely take that with a grain of salt. All that said, though, I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the full burn urn has to offer.